They've traveled more than 5,000 miles from the only home they've ever known for a chance at a better life.
Some children get killed because they're born this way. So just knowing that we are literally changing his life, I mean, that makes it worth it.
Imagine handing over your baby to travel to a foreign country to have surgery with a doctor you've never met and live with a family you don't know.
That is a tough choice, but it's a choice the parents of 5 special children were forced to make in hopes of giving them a chance at a normal life. Our Dr. Frank McGeorge has the story behind this incredible journey.
The children are all suffering from birth defects known as a cleft palate or cleft lip. Now, in the United States, these conditions are routinely repaired in the first year of life. But these kids were born in a place where the surgery is just not available. And the defect can be life-threatening, and not just medically.
Look at that big girl. Wow, look at you.
To say 9-month-old Salamata is a long way from home would be an understatement.
You're so pretty.
Today is the day that will change the entire course of her future, but she's more focused on the fact that she hasn't been allowed to eat since midnight.
I'll do it.
Comforting her is Nick and Betsy Weiss, Salamata's host family.
It was clear beyond 100% that we were supposed to be her host family and that God had sent us to specifically for this baby.
Salamata and the 4 other children have traveled from rural villages in Burkina Faso, a country in West Africa.
We're going to take such good care of you.
They're at Beaumont Hospital in Royal Oak, about to undergo life-changing, perhaps life-saving surgery.
There's a lack of medical care across the world, third world country.
Where others see a birth defect, Beaumont plastic surgeon Dr. Konkrit Shiaset sees hope.
I can see the beauty inside them, and I know that I can help them to look normal and function normal again.
All of the medical care is being provided free of charge. In addition to Salamata, there's 10-month-olds Ami and Abdul. He was born to a 13-year-old mom and has the most complex medical problems.
We've only had him 4 months now, and he's already got a big chunk of my heart.
Zoe, age 5, is the oldest.
Catch it! Quick! Oh, good job!
Really pulled on my heartstrings, knowing what she already had gone through for the first 5 years of her life.
And finally, there's Adama, the youngest. He was just 5 weeks old when he arrived in the U.S.
A little anxious, but we're excited to see the transformation. And
April and Steve Denbeston have 3 children of their own and another on the way, but there was enough room in their home and their hearts for Adama.
So we're ready.
The children were brought to the U.S. for help by an Indiana-based organization called Ray of Hope Medical Missions. Rebecca Gent is the founder.
But if there's a child and I can find a hospital or a doctor that's willing to help them, we'll bring them.
She says all of these children are survivors.
These moms have no way of feeding their child. Zero. They can't nurse. There's no way of expressing milk. There's no bottles available to them. There's no formula available. There's not even a cow to milk. We've had kids starve to death before we could get them here.
And that's not the only threat.
In that country, it's a curse. Some tribal leaders insist that they are executed or sacrificed. If a family is successful at hiding them, they are hidden.
He wouldn't be able to go to school with his cleft lip. As he grows up, he would not be able to work with his cleft lip. It's a real cultural stigma.
That's why their families have taken this risk. That's why, as each child goes into surgery, their host families pray, not just for the kids, but for their parents a world away.
These children all have loving families back home.
And update.
We put the muscle together, we close the gap, and we repair the nose. So it's beautiful.
There are tears and smiles of relief.
Are we hungry? Oh. Hi. Hi, baby. There you go.
Can't thank you enough.
You're welcome. All right.
You're welcome. Just amazed at how wonderful it looks.
I wish your parents could be here.
As they all move closer to healing and hope. Tomorrow at 6, it's the big reveal. See how different the children look just 2 weeks after surgery. And trust me, you do not want to miss it. Plus, what is it like to care for these children for months and then send them back? The families share that side of the journey tomorrow at 6. Back to you.
What a collection of extraordinary people.
Just unreal.
I mean, the surgeon, Beaumont, the staff.
Everyone involved.
These foster parents. Gosh, they all should feel so proud.
And everyone involved, as we were saying, actually, they all do this. Ray of Hope does this with private donations. They don't have any paid staff. They're all volunteers. And to learn how you can help, you can visit the health page at Click on Detroit.
They've traveled 5,000 miles for a life-changing, even life-saving surgery.
Some children get killed because they're born this way.
I hope you saw it last night at 11, and we introduced you to a very special group of children needed medical care that they just couldn't get at home.
Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with the next step on their very incredible journey of hope.
Incredible indeed, Karen and Devin. Now, the children were all born with birth defects known as a cleft palate or a cleft lip. Now, in their rural African villages, the condition is basically seen as a curse. But these kids, well, they're getting a second chance at a bright future.
Hello.
Hey. There are smiles around every corner today.
How are you? It looks so good.
It was just 2 weeks ago that Beaumont plastic surgeon Dr. Konkrit Shiaset operated on the 5 children.
The nose looks good.
Today, he's beaming at the results. Their host families can't stop smiling either.
I'm overwhelmed with how the surgeon was able to make a lip out of where there was just nothing there. It's amazing.
There is still more healing to do, but the results are already incredible.
The biggest transformation, for sure. I cried when I first saw him. He actually has a nose. He did not have a nose before. He just had a giant gaping hole in his face, basically. He can eat better. He can breathe better.
It's an adjustment, to be sure.
The first time she took a drink, she panicked. She's like, what do I do with this? You know.
Doctor cleared him, so he's done. Now he just gets to grow. He won't be judged for looking different.
I just think he now has a chance of acceptance in his community. His parents have a chance to get to know him and to love him without fear.
The children were brought here by an organization called Ray of Hope Medical Mission.
We just brought our 40th child in. So I believe we have 22 in the U.S. right now, and the rest have gone home. It costs about $7,000 for us to bring a child in. That includes all of the escort fees, transportation, medical testing, and then everything once they get to the United States is donated.
For the host families, today is bittersweet. This is the result they prayed for, but they've quickly fallen in love with these kids.
We're gonna miss him. We've had him since he was a newborn.
Yeah.
But they know their families are waiting.
We're sending home a happy, healthy baby. And they make that sacrifice to send him here, and then we make that sacrifice to send him home. So that's our goal.
A goal that brings smiles all around.
Thumbs up. Yeah, there we go.
Now I want you to have a look again at these before and after photos. All of this care was donated by the surgeons and Beaumont Hospital. Now 3 of the children, they still need additional surgery to correct other problems or fine-tune their futures. But the other 2, well, they'll be ready to head home very soon.
It's just amazing. And the commitment that we see here from the doctors and the families and this organization, Ray of Hope, is extraordinary.
Well, Ray of Hope in particular, you know, keep in mind, they do this all with private donations. And so if you want to help, you can find a link to donate on the health page at clickondetroit.com. And we are going to continue to follow these kids on this incredible journey, specifically how they are going to be accepted when they get home.
Yeah.
That's a whole other obstacle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? Really something. All right.
Thank you very much.
She's a 5-year-old here for a second chance at a normal life.
In that country, it's a curse. It's probably a parent's worst fear.
Well, for over a year, our Dr. Frank McGeorge has followed 5 children brought to Metro Detroit for life-changing, really sometimes life-saving surgery.
Boy, that's the truth. Tonight he introduces us to the oldest child, a little girl named Zoe.
All of the Beaumont 5, as they've been nicknamed, were born with a cleft lip or cleft palate, birth defects that couldn't be treated in their home country. Earlier this year, we showed you the results of their dramatic surgery. Well, now they're on to the next step of their journey of hope. At preschool, Zoe is just another one of the kids, singing songs, doing art projects.
You guys are doing good with those. I'm proud of you.
And playing dress up. But it's all a new experience for this 5-year-old.
She really likes school. She's excited every night when we tell her that she has school the next day. She's like, oh, yay!
Zoe is the oldest of the 5 children who traveled from rural village Burkina Faso, a country in West Africa. They were brought to the U.S. for help by an organization called Ray of Hope Medical Missions. Rebecca Gent is the founder.
Not having their lip closed could literally cost them their life in that country. In that country, it's a curse. It's probably a parent's worst fear. They're all ostracized. A lot of them are marked for death, that they are, some tribal leaders insist that they are executed or sacrificed. If a family is successful at hiding them, they are hidden.
This is what Zoe looked like when she arrived. In addition to her cleft repair, she needed extensive dental work. Her stomach is scarred where a witch doctor treated her with poison. Her host family, Steve and Sarah Bolut, have been deeply touched by this strong little girl.
Really pulled on my heartstrings, knowing what she already had gone through for the first 5 years of her life, the difficulties that she must have had.
All of that is a world away from their farm in Sand Lake, Michigan.
Where's your little brother? Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Zoe is old enough to understand why she's here. She's excited to go back to her family someday, but for now, she's happy and getting healthier every day.
Set, go. One more time. Good job.
She has surgery December 11. There's a small hole in her palate, and they hope to fix that.
Looking back, we didn't realize how much pain she was actually in. The Zoe that she is has just come out.
All of her care is being donated by Beaumont and plastic surgeon Dr. Concrete Chiaset.
Now we did a quite radical revision of the lip. We cut the skull, we rearranged the tissue.
Okay, yep.
She look much better now.
Everyone is excited for her parents to see results.
The day she was born was not a celebration for her mom and dad, for her family. The day that she goes back home into her mom and dad's arms is really like that birth, that day that they get to be excited, that they see this beautiful child for what she is.
At her last checkup, Zoe is all smiles.
Look at your scar, I barely see it. It looks good.
After this last surgery, then she says, I'm all done now, I'm all fixed. So now every night she prays to go home. Help me to go home, see Daddy and Mommy.
All right, honey, it's been a long year for you. Is that a year? She looks great. No concern. She's ready to go back. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
God bless you. Okay?
Thank you too. Appreciate all you've done for her.
All right, mission accomplished. Bye, honey.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to let her go, but I think it'll be rewarding also to know how far she's come and for her parents to have her back. Her smile, when she smiles, she's got a beautiful smile. It's just really pretty smile.
Aww.
Sweet girl.
Dr. Chiaset hopes Zoe will be able to return to the U.S. when she's 10 to get braces and a bone graft to accommodate for her growing jaw. But he knows that might not be possible. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., I'll have the story behind the surgeon, how he became known as the doctor who takes the cases no one else will, and why he is driven to help even more. That's tomorrow at 5.
Thank you, Doc.
Wow.
Zoe.
What a miracle to give her that smile.
And she's filled with joy. You can tell how happy she is.
Wow. Nice job, doctor.
Well, she looks good.
He's a local plastic surgeon trying to make life better for kids and adults in very difficult situations.
I'd like to ask ourselves why don't we do more?
For more than a year, our Dr. Frank McGeorge has followed 5 children brought to Metro Detroit for life-changing and often life-saving surgeries.
And their journey was made possible in part by a Beaumont surgeon who's become known for tackling the complex cases no one else will. Dr. McGeorge is here with the story behind Man on a Mission.
For patients facing devastating injuries or severe birth defects, nothing is more powerful than hope. And that is just what Dr. Concrete Chiaset offers to those who have been turned away by other doctors.
You gonna hold him?
Sure. He's known to his younger patients as Dr. C, creating smiles, just one of his many talents.
She eating okay?
Dr. Concrete Chiaset grew up in Thailand. After getting his medical degree, he came to the U.S. for further training.
I always want to help people. That's why I became a doctor.
He specializes in craniofacial surgeries and cancer reconstruction.
I was inspired by a few senior plastic surgeons who have done the same work that I do right now.
He's also a father of 4 with a soft spot for kids.
With the bullying, judgment among the kids, if you look different, you can be judged.
Dr. Chiaset drew national attention when he took on the case of Charlotte Ponce, a teenager who was attacked by a raccoon as a baby. He took cartilage from Charlotte's ribs and essentially grew her a new ear.
She got what she came for. She wanted an ear, she wanted a nose, she wanted a lip.
It's just one of the many challenging cases he's tackled that others said couldn't be done. He first heard about Ray of Hope Medical Missions after treating one of their children.
The kid did great, went home, and I saw the picture of the warm, welcoming home and really touched by that. And after that, I realized that I could do more and I want to do more. So then we contact Ray of Hope back, say we're willing to take a lot of children this year.
So far, he's operated on a dozen Ray of Hope kids with 5 or 6 more expected later this year. He's deeply moved by their situation.
In certain countries, the facial anomaly is a stigma of a curse, and that lead to execution of children who look different, and it's just heartbreaking to hear.
How are you doing, buddy? You okay?
With the Beaumont 5 ready to go home, he's ready for more.
I just feel great. You know, at least I can save essentially 5 lives.
He says he'll think of them often.
Every day. I want to do more. You know, it's the right thing to do. This thing, right thing to do.
It's just truly incredible work, and we will continue to follow the Beaumont 5 as they prepare for their journeys back to Africa. How will they be received, and what's it like for the families who have cared for them for so long to have to say goodbye? We'll be there for that emotional farewell. And if you've missed any of the previous stories, you can watch them right now on the health page at clickondetroit.com. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Doc. And you can help Dr. C help even more children by making a contribution to the Beaumont Craniofacial Fund. And we put a link to all that and the instructions on how to give in this story on our health page at clickondetroit.com. You can also learn more about the Ray of Hope Medical Missions, because they are definitely changing and really saving lives.
We followed their journey for almost 2 years. Children with birth defects that put their lives at risk. Nicknamed the Beaumont 5, they came here from Africa for life-changing surgeries. And now it's time to go home.
Imagine caring for a child day and night for months or even years and then having to say goodbye forever.
It's just an amazing story. Bittersweet moments. The host family of the Beaumont 5 have faced this, and the children have recovered enough that it's time to return home to their families in Africa. Dr. McGeorge has one of those emotional farewells.
The host families are truly at the core of what makes Ray of Hope possible. Families willing to open their homes and their hearts to a child with major medical problems, knowing that someday they'll have to give them back. It's a day they know is coming, and one of the families allowed us to be there as they said goodbye. It's a cold morning in Columbia City, Indiana.
You're going on an airplane?
Yeah.
A difficult morning, too.
Yeah. And you get to go see your mommy. Yeah, mommy.
Jeff and Jamie Newkirk are putting on a brave face. Today is the day they've been working toward and dreading all at the same time. It was 22 months ago that little Abdul arrived in their lives, malnourished and in desperate need of medical care.
We've only had him 4 months now, and he's already got a big chunk of my heart.
Abdul was born to a 13-year-old mom, and of the Beaumont 5, had the most complex problems.
We're going to focus on push this structure here inside, close the cleft lip and the palate that you can see. It's a very difficult one.
But after surgery,
the biggest transformation, for sure. I cried when I first saw him. He actually has a nose. He can eat better. He can breathe better.
Over the nearly 2 years, there have been more surgeries and countless milestones.
He went from a baby that would just lay there to a baby that crawled and then walked and then talked. And is happy. He's usually a very happy kid.
His young mom has had a chance to grow too.
Her and his father are back in school, so they are getting their education, which I am thrilled about. Come on in.
Today is the day Abdul leaves to begin the long journey home.
There we go. Get those shoes on. Yeah, shoes on. I love you. Forever and ever. Family hug. Family hug. We love you. Yeah, we'll try to make it quick. We knew he'd be here a while, and you just think, that's so far from now, and you will have to say goodbye. You do have to pack that trunk. You will see him walk away, and that'll be the end. You won't see him again. Yeah, so love him as much as you can love him. Please don't forget we love you.
Love you. Okay, kiss.
Yeah. We're gonna miss you, buddy. When you get scared, you can hold on to Cuddles and your blankies.
He's leaving with his blanket, his favorite stuffed bear Cuddles, and a whole lot of love.
This is the last time I get to see you. Yeah. And I'm gonna miss you so much. Have a good life in Africa. Okay, can I have a kiss? I'm praying for your heart and how you feel. Thank you. Care of him. Thank you. Praying for your heart too, guys. You did a good job with him. Thank you. We'll take good care of him. Yeah. Be a good boy, okay? Yeah, be a good boy. And just like that, the story is over. And beginning for him. I didn't have any expectations going into it. I knew it was going to be hard, and it's still going to be hard. But I'm just glad we got to be part of his story, help make him well, love on him. I knew there'd be tears. How can you not have tears after that long? And I just got to keep focusing on his mom and how happy she is going to be that this process is finally over and that they can get to know their little boy.
The next day they received this photo, Abdul at the airport with 2 other children also heading home. They're relieved to see he's still clutching Cuddles. And then the photo they've waited for, Abdul and Cuddles back in his mother's arms at last.
Just hopefully he stays healthy there. I mean, and he has a chance to make Burkina Faso better.
I could see him doing great things. An Abdul-sized hole in my heart will be there forever.
The host families say the reunion is why they do this, knowing how much the parents have sacrificed to give their children the chance for a better life. So how will the children be received by their villages? How will they adjust to life in rural Africa after spending so long in America? We'll have an update soon on how the children are doing and why one of them is now back in the United States. And if you've missed any of the previous stories, you can watch them right now on the health page at clickondetroit.com. Back to you.
How amazing are these families?
I know, the emotional ups and downs that they go through.
You give these babies a new life and then send them back.
Yeah, incredible.
Gosh, that's wonderful. It's the organization Ray of Hope at the bottom here. They do all this with private donations. They have no paid staff. If you'd like to help, we have also put a link on the health page.
We have followed their journey for 2 years. 5 children from Africa brought here for life-changing surgeries.
One by one, they've recovered and headed home, but how are they doing now? Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with an update on the Beaumont 5, Doc.
Well, Kim and Devin, you know, in their rural villages, being born with a cleft lip or palate, it's considered a curse. In fact, many of their families were forced to hide them away just to save their lives. So one of the questions we've heard most often about the children is how they'll be received when they go home. Well, you're about to find out.
He was itty-bitty when he came, so he's gained at least 10 pounds since being here.
Adama was the youngest of the Beaumont 5, just 5 weeks old when he arrived in the U.S. We visited his host family in Rockford as they prepared to send him home.
We talk a lot about it. We know he's going home, but there's been a lot of tears shed already. You know, he's been a part of our family.
But they know his parents are waiting.
He's their only child, so to be able to have him back in her arms.
I just hope that he's somebody that makes a big difference, and I think he's set up for that.
Salamata was 5 months old when she came to live with the Weiss family. Betsy Weiss isn't worried about Salamata bonding with her parents, but she does have concerns.
I think my main concern is food. She is a big eater, knowing that food is limited and scarce, and an average meal is just cornmeal and water. And thinking about her eating that right now is almost laughable.
There are concerns also shared by the host families of Zoe, Ami, and Abdul. Ray of Hope founder Rebecca Gent is quick to reassure them.
Right. I think everyone's worried about these kids are going back from this very material world, and everything's given to them to the bare necessities. And sometimes the bare necessities are even difficult. But I can assure you that all of these kids are very well loved.
One by one, the Beaumont 5 have made the long journey back to Africa. That's Adama back in his mother's arms, and a year later, growing and healthy.
Last we heard is doing well. He was speaking, he was walking.
In their culture, adults don't smile for photographs, but Ami's mom was apparently unable to contain her joy at their reunion. Just 2 months later, Ami contracted malaria and was hospitalized. He was treated and recovered. His family has now left Burkina Faso.
Ami, his family had actually decided to go to Cote d'Ivoire. They went kind of into the refugee status of Cote d'Ivoire.
Salamata's parents said they were beyond grateful for the love and care their daughter received while she was away from them. Zoe was the oldest of the Beaumont 5. As they arrived at the airport,
she was so excited to get home.
After reuniting with her dad, she was excited to go back to her village.
You know, Zoe, we haven't gotten a lot of updates, but we know she's very far removed from the city, but was doing great last time we heard.
Abdul was the last of the Beaumont 5 to go home. That's him in the blue stripes at the airport. His young mom was grateful to have him home and healthy.
They sent these children out of love, so certainly I fully expect that they'll bring them back into love, but how will they fit into the fold of the community? How will the community react? But the reality is that these communities, they see this miracle. You know, they see what these medical advances can do. They see the survivor in this child.
Ray of Hope Medical Missions has brought almost 60 kids to the U.S. for surgery in the past 7 years, and they do it all with donations, and they have an all-volunteer staff. If you'd like to donate, we have put a link on the health page at clickondetroit.com.
Really remarkable what they do, too. This has obviously been life-changing for the host families as well. Do any of them plan to host again?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, all 5 of the families have either agreed to host again or they've already begun hosting another child from Ray of Hope, which is frankly a real testament to the organization and the impact that they're having.
It really is.
Yeah. True. Yeah. If you missed any of the previous stories, by the way, you can watch all of them. We've got them at the health page at clickondetroit.com.
What's this? Is that soft?
She came from rural Africa for life-changing surgery. And then Salamata went home. Her host family never expected what happened next.
All happened within 30 seconds, I think, of just like every single emotion you could feel, like from excitement to fear to like, what is it going to be like, to elation.
Yeah, all of that. We have followed the incredible journey of the Beaumont 5 for 2 years. When the children all safely returned home, we kind of assumed the story was done.
Right, but one little girl had other plans. Our Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with Salamata's story.
All of the Beaumont 5 had surgery to repair their cleft lips and palates at Beaumont Hospital. Now, Salamata spent 8 months with the Weiss family before returning home to her grateful parents. But when she developed a common complication, they asked if she could come back to the U.S. for more surgery.
Where's your nose? Where's your eyes?
The Weiss family had been heartbroken to say goodbye to Salamata.
But I cried. I cried hard.
They were beyond thrilled to welcome her back. Betsy Weiss envisioned a Hallmark reunion.
It was going to be amazing. It was going to be beautiful. She was going to run to us, and I was going to put my arms out, and she was going to remember me, and she was going to be so excited to see the boys.
It didn't quite go like that.
She just immediately screamed, bawled, held Ellen and Rebecca, just terrified.
But the next morning at breakfast,
she started singing Itsy Bitsy's, or doing the motions to Itsy Bitsy Spider. And that was something we always did together. And I thought, she remembers something. Because I know that her African mama is not doing Itsy Bitsy Spider motions with her.
Salamata has continued to amaze them.
First time that I gave her a bath, I thought I was going to give her a bath like a little American baby. No, she could totally 100% wash herself. And it was really cool to see. But it made me just see, like, culturally, I mean, she has to do that. Her mom has 5 other kids. So I'm sure they taught her that right away, like how to take care of herself.
They talk about her parents every day, and they're honored that they trust their family enough to send Salamata back.
That made us feel both just really good, knowing that they trusted us and that we did a good job with their child.
Dr. Concrete Chiaset at Beaumont Hospital was able to repair the small hole that had formed in Salamata's palate. She celebrated her 3rd birthday in November. She's quickly readjusted to life in the U.S. Her favorite song? Daddy Shark, Daddy, Daddy. As they prepare to say goodbye again, they remember the words of her parents.
Essentially what it said was, we know that we could never repay you for everything you've done for our daughter, and we forever will be thankful to your family for that. But we want you to know that even though we can't give her what you can give her, we love her just as much as you do and just the same.
I think it's always helpful knowing just in your mind that she's going back to a family that wants her and loves her.
We had heard that her mother's first comment when she saw Salamata was, "Now my life is complete again." How do you beat that?
Now, Salamata is scheduled to return home in January. Ray of Hope Medical Missions makes all of this possible with donations. They have no paid staff. Now, there are several more kids just like Salamata waiting to come to the U.S. And you can find the link to make a donation on the health page at clickondetroit.com. And if you have missed any of our stories on the Beaumont 5, you can watch their journey from the beginning on the health page as well. Back to you.
Oh. Isn't that sweet?
It really is. And kudos to Ray of Hope, the doctors, and then the foster families who have to, they fall in love, and then the kids
have to be willing to give him back.
So hard.
And I love that Baby Shark is such an international language.
We'll be singing that all night too, right?